So, welcome everybody. I have my friend Paula Williams here, and I'm Sarah Seidelman. I should introduce myself. We are here to talk about 100-day projects, and I'm going to be starting a group soon where we're all going to be launching into a 100-day project, which is simply, to state it simply, it's just where you choose to do one creative or physical act every single day for 100 days. And usually these tasks take a very short amount of time, so they're eminently doable, but nonetheless, you will find it challenging to do them every day for 100 days in a row, and
Yes.
you'll learn something. And so I wanted to interview Paula because she has done several of these projects, and we walk every morning, so I've gotten to hear like her process. So welcome, Paula.
Hi, everybody.
And Paula, maybe do you want to tell us about maybe just one of your 100-day projects and like what made you want to do it? What did you learn from it?
Well, I think the first one was the most fun, and I learned so much during the process that I carried forward into the projects afterwards. The setting of this was it's so special to me also. It was the beginning of March of last year, and as we all know, the world was going into a shutdown. There was all these grumblings. I'm an educator, and so by the 10th or 11th or 12th of March, we're starting to hear that schools are going to shut down all over the country, all over the world. And I have never, ever in my life imagined that I would be working from home as an educator. And Sarah had done a 100-day project already. And I just loved the idea of it. And so for a couple of weeks, I thought about like, what do I want to do? Oh, that seems too scary. That seems too, it was really a thoughtful and exciting process to even figure out what I wanted to do. And I wanted to start it on the day that I was going to be starting to work from home, which was March 24th. And really, really, this is kind of sweet. I thought it would get me through the shutdown. I thought that the world would all be back together and my 100 days would sort of help me pass that time, which of course that didn't pan out like that, right? So I started on March 24th, and I picked a project that was a little silly and sort of outlandish because I'm 51, so at the time I was 50, and I picked headstands. I had never done a headstand, and I'm for sure as a child, I remember doing headstands, but it had been probably 40 years. And so I picked headstands, and I was pretty excited about it. I had practiced a couple of times against the wall, or sort of had my husband like help me throw my legs up there, and so I was comfortable with the idea, but I really thought it was going to coincide with the COVID shutdown, and I also thought it was going to take me 100 days to master an unassisted headstand. And I didn't have like how long I had to hold it for. I didn't have any of those parameters. I just wanted to be able to do one. And so I started by doing it sort of against the back of my couch, because my couch is in the middle of the living room. And I used a Pilates mat so that I wasn't killing myself. And on day 12, I did an unassisted headstand. And I'm like, who knew that would happen? And on day 13, day 14, it was unbelievable. I could not believe that I could do a headstand all of a sudden. And then I would be like, okay, I'm going to back up away from anything that could catch me. And I would do my headstand, and then I would start to hold it for 30 seconds and I would do my headstand. It was like this incredible revelation that I could do more than I ever thought. First of all, I could do something that I had long given up on, and it just took the commitment, sort of like the practice, the commitment to keep trying it every day. And and that was really a cool idea to me. Like, maybe if I had not commit to a 100 days, I would have tried it and then gone back to my old thinking of, well, I can't do a headstand. I think of the millions of things that I have already written off in my life, like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, heavens, no, I can't do that. I can hear that in myself. And so it started to get, there was a moment like day 50, about halfway, that all of a sudden it wasn't super easy. And that got me curious, I would say. So I would just try it again, and I would like just sort of fall out of it really fast. And if I got too frustrated, I would just tell myself, come back to it in an hour or whatever. And then I ultimately was able to work through that. And by the end, probably the last 20, 25 days, I was holding it for a minute. And that is what I still do now. If I'm doing a headstand and that didn't become a habit, but I probably think about it at least once a week, and I do a headstand for a minute just to keep my headstand skills fresh.
Keep your game fresh. I love it.
Uh-huh.
I love how it's like that surprise. I remember the day you're like, day 12, I'm like already doing it. And then how we can lose that, like we're surprised, and then it's kind of almost like, it's like beginner's mind. I remember like learning how to surf, and it took me a while, but then I caught my first wave. I'm like, this is awesome. And then like the next 12 waves, I fell and could not catch a wave to save my life.
Yeah.
Because I think I got attached to it. Like, oh, I can do this now. And then suddenly it was like, oh no, you can't.
Right. But you can if you just let go of those expectations or fears of failure, or it's like, that's what I battle, I would say, is that instead of trying things, I would just write it off. But it's ultimately this idea that I don't want to try something that's a little weird or scary or difficult, that I think will challenge me, because I don't want to fail at it, Yeah. And so the 100 days just gives you a little bit of like, I'm just going to do this for 100 days. Even if it means I'm just going to try doing it. Like when I started, I didn't know if I would ever be able to, but I was going to try to do it every day for 100 days. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that willingness to show up with ourselves. And we don't have to pick something like that has to do with our work or like some academic achievement. Like we can pick standing our head, which has really nothing to do with the price of tea in China, but it's something important to you because it sounded like fun, I'm guessing. Like there's something about headstands that just inspired you. Yep,
exactly. I wanted it to be something fun, just weird,
Yeah.
Almost like it won't get me anywhere other than able to do a headstand. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and then you finished that one, and then you took on, I know in the fall you took on several. Paula is a special person. She did like multiple 100-day projects simultaneously. But one of them was more of a creative thing, which is typically when people talk about 100-day projects, they're often in conjunction with creative types of projects in terms of like making something. Although we could argue that getting a headstand is a creative project too, because figuring out how to do it is a creative process. But tell us, yeah, what did you pick next for your next one?
Well, it was so much fun. I had so much fun doing the 100-day project of the headstand that as I was approaching, I felt like November 1 was going to be a really awesome time because it was going to get me through the long Duluth winter, right? Like to February. And that's when you started yours too, your November 1 start.
Yes.
And but I couldn't decide. And so I did 4. And most of them were very easy, like really doable. I commit to decluttering every single day for 100 days. And that was really good for my for my junk drawers and really good for my closet. It only got difficult when I kind of wanted to be done getting rid of my stuff and I wanted to start getting rid of the rest of the people's stuff in my who I live with. And I quickly, my kids were like, sure, that's cool. But my husband was like, no, you can go back to your side of the closet. I'm perfectly happy with my stuff. And I was like, okay, I guess I don't get to be in charge of your stuff. I just have to go back to mine. And that's good, right? Like this was not his project. This was mine. And so decluttering was good. I had a constant pile going. Some days I would have like 5 boxes of stuff to get rid of. And some days I would be like, 10 pencils. It's like, who uses pencils? I don't know. Nobody in my house.
I'm just going to add in there, there's a fellow friend did a 100-day project decluttering. He took a picture with the stuff that he got rid of every day. So sometimes it was like a couple teddy bears. And sometimes it was whatever he did. He took a selfie with the stuff. So at the end, he had 100 selfies with all of his stuff. And it was really a neat reflection.
Oh, I don't want any documentation of the mountains of stuff that I got rid of because people might think I was crazy. And so that was really good. And I was kind of relieved when after the 100 days was over because I was ready to be just happy with what I was looking at. But I can already see that I'd like to get that started again. and then I wanted to move my body in sort of a creative way. And I felt like dancing was something that I stopped doing. My favorite dancing is like middle school dances where it was just you just went crazy. It was so much fun. And so I did that in my house by myself with my headphones on and I had fun and I did that every day. That was really easy to do. But I didn't want anyone watching me. So I did that a part of my morning routine when nobody else was up. And then I taught myself how to crochet the easiest stitch. And I made a blanket and a skirt. And I made a little thing and I sewed it to the back of a jean jacket. And so that was really fun. And then I made another
1 square a day. Was that how you?
Oh yeah, that's what it was. It was 1 square a day, but I finished that in like 50 days because I did more than 1 square. I had so much fun with it. And so I kind of see myself as a crocheter now. Like I'm pretty stoked about all of that. And my kids and my husband, they're like, I really like that blanket. And then it's my son's birthday tomorrow and he asked for his own blanket. So I made another blanket and it's all done and ready to give him tomorrow. And so that's really fun. And my most challenging November 1 100-day challenge was a plank challenge. And I started at 1 minute. That's what it was. Day 1 was 1 minute. And then I added 5 seconds every day. And the end, so on day 100, it was like 9 minutes and 30 seconds or something like that.
Incredible.
And at about about 3 days into it, so about probably about a minute and a half, minute 45 seconds, I was terrified at what I'd commit to. I was like, there is no way. I was so worried about the future. I was so worried about um what am I going to do when I get to 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes or 5 minutes. I was just terrified that I was going to fail at my own little game that I had created the rules for. I'm the only one playing it. And at about probably I don't know, around 3 minutes, around the time that I was hitting 3 minutes, I thought, why am I, every day I'm able to do it. It's kind of hard, but I'm able to do it. Why am I stressing out about the future so much? And that really carried over into many areas of my life where I worry about the future, about everything, like, oh, and so that was really that experience where I recognized that I was worrying about the future when I really had, well, does it get us anywhere? That was very powerful. And so I stopped worrying about tomorrow, and I did it. I did my plank every day for 100 days, and I got all the way up to 9 minutes and whatever. And I kept going because it was like, no, what do? I can't really stop. And so now I just do an 8-minute plank every day as just sort of part of my morning routine.
Just to prove you're so amazing. Because guys, can I just say, like, I do my 15 push-ups while the coffee maker's making my coffee. And I decided I would add to that a plank while, because it takes a while for the coffee to churn out the coffee. I'm telling you, I am like, I cannot do it. I mean, it's hard to do a plank, even for a minute and a half for me. So it's amazing, but it's that incremental. And I think this is the power of the 100-day project. You will be amazed. Whatever you pick, it doesn't matter how small it is, like that 30 seconds a week increase. It's like, or was it 10 seconds a day?
It was 5 seconds a day. Just
5 seconds a day. It seems like nothing's happening, but it's amazing when you add that all up. It makes me think about like learning how to play the ukulele. I was like, I want to learn to play an instrument, but the idea of like what happens to us, especially as adults, we just think we know what excellent ukulele playing is like. And we think to ourselves, I'll never get there. Like it's impossible, like, with the headstand or me. But it's like, well, but if you never start, you'll never find out.
You never start.
Yeah. And it's so powerful. Like now I know all kinds of chords. I know how to do fingering. I can do all these things. And it's all just because I just started doing like 10 minutes a day. And so like what else did you learn about yourself? What other learning moments? I remember you talked about ordering yarn. That was something that was like,
oh yeah, that set me back a little bit. Like when I started the crochet project, I went to Michael's. What was it? No, I didn't go to Michael's. I ordered it from Amazon. And I had no idea what I was doing. I liked the colors of this little pack. And I got it. And it was like, I got it just in time to start the 100-day project, or like 3-4 days before. And it was so tiny. It was like thread. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't make a blanket out of this. This would be like a doily, like it was, it was such fine yarn. And so I was stressed about starting that. So instead of Amazon, I went out to Michael's and I got yarn. And then I learned another valuable lesson about yarn crafting. You should really buy all of the yarn before you start your project.
Up front.
Yeah, up front. Because I bought 2 beautiful skeins, and then I went to go back to get 2 more of the same beautiful skeins, and they did not exist on the planet. And so I learned that quickly. And so instead of a solid colored, I had a multicolored blanket.
Yeah.
I just had to go with it because I was not done with my squares. And so, yeah.
And we just learn like, well, that kind of, it's just that expectation stuff. It's like, I remember doing one of my 100-day project. I did these beasties, which was like, you know, our vintage animals with the painted backgrounds that I did. And I remember thinking like I was disappointed in them, you know, like especially like I was so excited to do it. And then the first one that I had to post, I remember thinking, I don't even like this, but I had no choice but to post it because the game is you do it no matter what. And even if it's not perfect, even if you don't love it. And that really taught me about how much my own perfectionism kind of holds me back.
Yes.
Because if it wasn't a 100-day project, there's no way I would have shared it because I was just kind of like, ooh, it's not quite right. Like, and that can really get in my way because there's so many things I don't share. Really awesome. Anything else? Oh, we'll talk about maybe briefly. Now you're doing a brand new project, which is a big project that's taking up a lot of your time.
Yeah, this is I commit to 100-day. Actually, it's not exactly 100-day project. Yeah. I shifted it to a 14-week project because it's running. And I was fearful again that there would be days that I would miss. And to me, an authentic 100-day project was something you would do every single day for 100 days. So I started running 4 weeks ago, and I started at 15 miles for the week. And I'm adding a mile every week for 14 weeks. So my last week, I have to do 28 miles during that week. And that's taking a lot of sort of that I'm starting over with this process, like this idea that I'm nervous, that I'm not going to fit it in, or I'm not going to like it, or I'm not going to be able to do it, or I'm not going to, you know, all of the things that I'm fearful of are happening to me, you know.
I think that's what this does. It kind of brings up all your gremlins, all your resistances, and then you realize that you're capable of busting through them as day by day you just continue to bust through them. And is, you know, and sometimes, you know, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have a bad day or maybe miss a day or maybe forget, oh my gosh, and make it up the next day or whatever. And you know, many people like Paula is amazing. Like, I mean, I don't know that you've missed any days doing your other 100 days. I don't remember if you missed any days, but
I probably did. And I had a little, you know, if I missed a headstand, I would do twice. I would do 2 minutes the next day.
Yeah.
Because then in my mind,
you're picking up the rules. Like, we make the rules for this. Nobody's like the 100-day police aren't coming for you.
Right. And that feels good too. Like, this is really, it's an exercise that's fun, and it's something I'm going to do every day, and I'm committing, and I think the couple of times that I did, like, couldn't get to it or whatever, it's like, it's okay, Paula. It doesn't mean that you're done. It doesn't mean that you failed. We just are going to do 2 minutes today, you know.
And the running project, and this is another thing, guys, when you're thinking about a project you want to do, like, you wanted to tap into something that's really important to you. And Paula had shared that she was really like, there's a part of her wants to be like an athlete, like a training athlete. But she's always like brought her kids to all these special things, and her kids have been athletes, and she's had them have special coaches and all this, but now is her time. And I think that's so cool. And for me, a lot of my projects revolve around writing and art, because for me, like, being an artist is something I want to develop into and you know, and becoming.
Yep, that you are.
That I am, yes. And you are an athlete. We claim this.
Exactly, right? And that's a journey, right?
It is.
Yep. Well, so I can't talk enough about the things that come out of the commitment to just do a 100-day project. It's fun and it's rewarding.
Yeah. And if you do it, it's like we've both experienced, we've talked about this many times. It's like your integrity with yourself just grows and grows. And as we believe more in ourselves, it's pretty magical because we start to believe in ourselves in other areas. And I think it just carries over into every part of our life and brings more confidence and clarity and calm and all those things and fun.
All of those. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Paula, so much for being here and sharing your experience. And yeah,
and
thanks
thank you for introducing me to this idea. It's so awesome.
Well, it's super fun. I'm so glad you've done it. And for those of you who are wanting to maybe launch in June 1st, we're going to start a whole new group. We'll probably get together, but that will be the day we start. We'll probably get together before then to help you kind of figure out what your project's going to be. And then we're going to launch on June 1st. So subscribe and look for that announcement soon.
Fantastic.
Okay.
All right. Bye, friend.
Bye.